Guys, this is insane. We've seen celebrity scandals before, but nothing like this. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, and yes, even Taylor Swift, all wrapped in a storm of headlines, rumors, and chaos. But here's the twist: the media seems to be covering up for Blake, protecting her, hiding something. What are they not telling us? Why is Justin Baldoni suddenly under attack? And how on earth did Taylor Swift get dragged into this legal and media battlefield? Stay with me, because today we're diving deep chapter by chapter into the chaos that Hollywood doesn't want you to fully understand. Blake Lively. To the world, she's the golden girl, the star of Gossip Girl, the wife of Ryan Reynolds, the woman who seems untouchable. But behind the shine, whispers started swirling. Rumors of deals, of drama, of something brewing that the public wasn't supposed to see, and then boom, a headline drops. Not about her mistakes, not about her controversies, but instead the spotlight lands on Justin Baldoni. Suddenly his name is everywhere. Suddenly Taylor Swift is part of the story. But why? That's a storm, guys. A storm where Blake Lively stands in the eye, calm and polished, while the winds whip around everyone else. The audience, people like us, we're left staring at the headlines thinking, wait, something doesn't add up. Something feels off. And trust me, you're not alone. Because once you start connecting the dots, the cover-up becomes impossible to ignore. Let's talk about Justin Baldoni. The actor, the director, the man behind 5 Feet Apart, and It Ends With Us, is not usually the guy caught up in messy scandals. He's more known for heartfelt projects, emotional storytelling, family man vibes. But out of nowhere, his name is thrown into the chaos. Rumors start flying that Baldoni was somehow involved in serving papers to Taylor Swift. Headlines twist the narrative. Social media runs wild. Imagine that. One minute you're promoting your movie, the next you're trending because of subpoenas, scandals, and Swifties demanding answers. And here's the kicker. While Baldoni's name was getting dragged, Blake Lively's? Protected. Soft headlines. Careful coverage. Almost like the chaos was redirected straight onto Justin. But why him? Why now? It's a classic Hollywood move. When the storm gets too close to someone powerful, you find another target. And Justin became that target. And then there's Taylor Swift, the icon, the superstar, the woman who has turned her entire life into lyrics, making millions cry and scream and feel seen. But what she didn't ask for. Being dragged into Blake and Justin's mess, rumors started spreading. Someone was arrested at Travis Kelce's house trying to serve Taylor Swift with deposition papers. Subpoenas. Legal drama. The kind of thing that makes headlines explode. But here's the wild part. There's no clarity. No solid proof. Just whispers. Just stories that swell louder and louder until they sound like truth. And yet again, who gets hit hardest? Justin Baldoni. Not Blake. Not the person standing in the middle of it. Taylor's name gets headlines. Justin's name gets dragged. Blake's? Still shining in gold. It's chaos, but a controlled chaos. Someone's pulling strings. Someone's managing the narrative. And Taylor Swift? She becomes a pawn in a game she didn't even sign up to play. Now let's get real. The media doesn't just report news. They shape it. They choose the words, the angles, the villains, the victims, and in this case, look closely. When Blake Lively's name comes up, the coverage feels soft, gentle. Headlines read more like PR than scandal. Almost like journalists are protecting her image. But the same media doesn't hesitate to spin Justin Baldoni as a chaos maker. They don't hesitate to plaster Taylor Swift's name in every headline for clicks. It's like a game of chess. Protect the queen, Blake Lively. Sacrifice the pawns, Justin and Taylor. And here's the emotional punch. For fans, it feels like betrayal. We rely on the media for truth. But what happens when the truth is buried under carefully crafted sentences? When the cover-up becomes more powerful than reality itself? Here's where things explode. Fans, Swifties, Baldoni supporters, Blake's defenders. Social media became the real battleground. On Twitter, fans demanded receipts. On TikTok, creators broke down timelines, dissected clues, connected dots. On YouTube, commentators went deep, exposing contradictions in the coverage and emotions. Off the charts, some felt betrayed. Why is Blake being shielded? Others were confused. Did Justin really serve Taylor? And some were furious. The media is gaslighting us. The divide between what headlines said and what fans believed had never been sharper. And in that divide, chaos thrived. Now here's where the story takes a darker turn. What if this isn't just random? What if the cover-up is strategic? Think about it. Blake Lively, polished image, huge Hollywood connections. Ryan Reynolds by her side. Disney deals, corporate partnerships. She's valuable. Protecting her brand means protecting millions in contracts. Justin Baldoni, an easy target. A filmmaker with a rising profile but not enough power to fight back. Perfect scapegoat. Taylor Swift, the biggest name in music. Always trending. Always a magnet for headlines. If you drag her into the chaos, people click. The story spreads like wildfire. So what happens? The narrative gets twisted. Blake stays safe. Justin takes the heat. Taylor becomes a chaos headline. Coincidence? Or a carefully crafted web of control? That's a question haunting this entire saga. So where do we go from here? Will Justin Baldoni fight back? Will Taylor Swift's team finally shut down the rumors? Will Blake Lively's media shield eventually crack? Because here's the truth. No cover-up lasts forever. Secrets leak. Stories shift. Fans dig. And the more you try to hide something, the more powerful it becomes when it finally comes out. Hollywood has seen this cycle before. Shine. Protect. Cover. Collapse. And every single time, it ends with chaos. So here's a question for you. Did the media really protect Blake Lively at the expense of Justin Baldoni and Taylor Swift? Or are we all just caught in a storm of rumors and illusions? Because when you step back and look at this entire situation, it feels less like a coincidence and more like a strategy. Think about it. The moment Blake's name could have been tied to controversy, the spotlight shifts. Suddenly Justin Baldoni is dragged into headlines. Suddenly Taylor Swift, who had nothing to do with this, becomes a chaos headline. And Blake? Still shining, still polished, still untouchable in the eyes of the media. Now ask yourself, who benefits from that? Who gains when the truth is twisted? And who loses? Justin Baldoni loses because his image, his reputation, his projects suddenly carry a shadow. Taylor Swift loses because she's forced to deal with headlines she didn't ask for. And we, the audience, we lose too because we're fed half-truths, rewritten stories, carefully chosen narrative designed to make us look one way and ignore the other. And maybe that's a bigger story here. This isn't just about celebrities. This is about power. It's about control. It's about how the truth can be packaged, sold, and even hidden in plain sight. Because let's be real, we've seen this before. How many times has Hollywood created the illusion of perfection while burying scandal behind closed doors? How many times has the media been complicit, choosing to cover some stories aggressively while letting others disappear quietly into the background? Every time it happens, the cycle repeats. Fans catch on, whispers spread, social media erupts, and eventually the truth trickles out. And by then, it's too late. Reputations are damaged, fans feel betrayed, and the people who pull the strings quietly move on to the next story. So here's the uncomfortable truth. This might not even be about Blake alone. This might be about an entire system designed to protect certain images while sacrificing others. A system where power decides who gets shielded and who gets scapegoated. And if that's the case, then what we're seeing here with Blake, Justin, and Taylor is just one chapter of a much bigger book. A book that Hollywood has been writing for decades. But here's the part that gives me hope. The fans. You, the people watching, questioning, digging, because you're not blind anymore. You're not just accepting headlines at face value. You're analyzing. You're connecting dots. You're asking the hard questions the media doesn't want to ask. And that's why this story matters. Not because it's Blake. Not because it's Justin. Not because it's Taylor. But because it exposes the cracks in the system. It reminds us that truth isn't always what we're told. Sometimes truth is buried, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover it. So when I ask you to drop your thought in comments, I don't mean it lightly. Your voice matters. Every opinion, every perspective, every theory, it all adds to the bigger picture. And trust me, the more we talk about it, the harder it becomes for the truth to stay hidden. Because here's one thing history has taught us. What's hidden in the dark will always come to light. It may take days. It may take years. But eventually, the mask slips. The illusion cracks, and the truth stands tall. So the storm you're watching right now, it's not the end. It's just the beginning. Maybe Justin Baldoni will finally speak out. Maybe Taylor Swift's team will take action. Maybe Blake Lively's shield will crack under pressure. Or maybe something even bigger will unfold. Something that changes the way we look at celebrity culture forever. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain: you won't want to miss it. So stay tuned. Stay alert. And never stop asking the questions the media refuses to answer, because in the end, this story isn't just about three names in Hollywood. It's about us. It's about truth. It's about refusing to be fooled. And as long as we keep questioning, as long as we keep looking deeper, the truth will always have a chance to break free.